my comfort shatter, then I panicked for a minute, thinking, what if his story ends and I am never in it? I surrendered myself and prayed for guidance all through the night. All I could ask was that you have will and strength to fight. You still have so much to enjoy. You're far from the finish line. It's you and me until the end, until the very end of time. They say it's crazy to stay this long. If that's the case, then I'm insane. What is an eternity split 7 billion different ways? An everlasting currency that's just been broken into days.
Time is our inheritance, so much of mine I've wasted. 1,000 lies, all aged like wine, became the only thing I've tasted. Can I take a decade off my age if I did nothing with it? Behind my eyes, a seismic shift you'd never know. Above the surface, what once were cracks in my defense soon became my deepest fault. If ever I was audited, the whole world would be appalled.
Interesting because it had a lot of elements to it. In terms of the narration, it was spoken word poetry, and it was paired with these beautiful, very vivid imagery of different faces and different places and close-ups and landscape shots, and there was so much to look at. It was very engaging. But then it also had animation involved with it, which was really cool, and I especially loved the animated parts.
I think this one does a good job at mixing all these different styles and elements together. You've got live action footage, and you've got motion and animation, and you've got all these different thoughts and ideas all coming together in this ballad, which I think is expressed beautifully by the person voicing it. And they do just a good job with the tone and really all just coming together, the audio, the visuals, and making this a really interesting piece worth checking out.
It was this beautiful rainbow kind of sword, and then the white one embraces the black one and they come together. It was just a beautiful story, very relatable, talks a lot about the personal journey of mental health. And it felt like I was inside somebody's journal, and it was very personal, it was very intimate, and I really enjoyed getting to be inside somebody's head for that. So yeah, this was a really special film.
I did feel a bit changed at the end of it. It was a lot to think of, and I did feel like I was diving into somebody's journal of their deepest revelations. And they explored the text in a multitude of amazing forms, in the landscape shots, the portraits, the animation. I love the pacing of the piece too, as it grew with the reading. Really interesting commentary between the visuals and the spoken word. Just stunning thoughts, and allowed you to really meditate on the words as you watch the piece.
He is incredible. His performance is so moving. It starts very quiet and subtle, and then builds and builds and builds with stories of anger towards his father, and then it becomes much more gentle as he has met his love of his life, who can help him through his pain. This movie is chock full of imagery. There's animation, there's pictures of wildlife like birds, there's flashing lights, there's cityscapes, there's underwater shots. Wow, it really, really covers a whole gamut of imagery to tell this tale of a young guy who's felt so alone and afraid when he was a child because of perhaps an abusive relationship with his dad, and now he's coming full circle and healing himself. And the imagery of the lighthouse is throughout the whole film, but that's that beacon of hope as he meets his new friend and becomes a full person and much more healed. Beautiful film, incredible film. Wow, well done.
There are so many things here. There's so many motifs explaining so many things in this troubled man's life. We have drug addiction. We have the motif of birds in slow motion. We have so many challenges. And through Dan Ram's emotive narration, we feel his tortured angst as he summarizes his life's challenges and that which sends him towards the downward spiral. This man's journey to find self-worth and fulfillment is staggering, and it is towards the end, through the second half, when she takes over the narration, we have a newfound hope and confidence, and dare I say love, that brings happiness to the end of it. And it ends up being a very poignant experience in ways that reminded me very much of The Tree of Life, which wasn't just a summary of a man's life, but how life and union of lives together, that is what makes life worth living. And that was a theme that I hope that Dan Ram, as well as Will Reyes, could agree to.
I liked this a lot. I thought that the video images that they had chosen and edited together all worked well visually together, but it really was the poetry that was being spoken overlaid that really made it for me. I thought they mirrored what was being said with what they were showing so well. They obviously had put a lot of thought into it, which I really appreciated being an audience member. And apart from that, the way that it was read, the way that it was performed, the poetry part of it was so well done. There was a lot of emotion and a lot of energy just kind of infused within the spoken words, but it wasn't too much. It was emphatic. It was a statement.
I love the feeling just that the short gives you. I mean, that's like the first thing I'd say right off the bat. It's so positive, even though it deals with heavy material. It has, a beautiful message at the end that I think really tops it off great, about, the light reaching you after so many years. It has incredible visuals that couple beautifully with the voiceover narration throughout. And I felt, and of course that narration itself is so poetic. I felt that it builds both in emotion and also in volume at times to these great crescendos. And that when the voices switch over, when it becomes the female voice for a little bit, of course this is open to interpretation, I perceive that almost as the male voice being those who struggle with mental illness, who struggle with all these different kinds of issues in life, whatever they may be, physical, emotional, spiritual. And the woman's voice seemed to be from the perspective of those who help people who are suffering, while also acknowledging that they're struggling through things themselves as well. It's really beautifully done, stunning, worth rewatching to see, things you didn't pick up on before. Really lovely.